everyone, welcome back to another video with your bestie Kushali's diary. Today I'm gonna teach you how to not break your bank but still doing hot girl activities without having to stress. So let me break it down for you. I am all for the soft girly, the financial baddie, the queen energy here. But sometimes, like, especially as a teen and as a university student, it gets really hard out here trying to spend your money, but also trying to live up your life and not trying to regret any moments that you didn't attend to. So for today, we're going to be looking at ways to save your money and be financially stable before you even have fun, but also we're going to look at ways that we can have fun without breaking our bank. So first up, let's look at smart girl money moves. So the first thing I like to do is allocate my money into different buckets. So one way I do this, I allocate all the money and all the income that I've got from the month into a bucket for essentials, another bucket for savings, another bucket for vacations, another bucket for activities with friends and family, and the last bucket for solo activities because they are just as important as group hangouts and things like that, because you have to make time and money for yourself as well to celebrate yourself. So we don't forget that here. But yeah, I like to do that with my buckets, and I just honestly recently started to do it, and I found it to be very helpful in not like spending too much money on my solo activities, so I have enough money to spend with my family and friends, and vice versa, right? And so it's just good to be mindful about where you're spending your money. Alongside those lines, you can also track your monthly spending. So that's what I like to do on a Google spreadsheet. Every single month I will go through. Every week I will just write down what I spent in that week, and by the end of the month I will allocate them to the same buckets which I just said in my budgeting tip. And so I can see at the end of the month, did I live up to my budget? Is there anything I need to change and anything I need to allocate and things like that? So that is how you save before having fun as well. Another tip which I have relating to this somewhat is to create a vacations saving fund. So this is important to do before you even think about going on vacation, honestly. Like, I would say to do it a year and maybe a little bit before that, and I just started to do this to save for my future trips for next summer, because I realized this summer I went to go on a trip with my friends, but it was too hard for me to save up for that right away because I didn't think about it prior to then, and I would just spend that extra cash or that extra money on food to just buy myself, like when I could have easily just made that food at home and brought a lunch to school, things like that. And so how I like to do this is I have my vacations bucket, and I like to save around $20 to $50 every week, and I just directly deposit this into a separate savings account which is titled my vacations, so it is completely utilized for that. And so by the end of the year, or by the end your vacation comes along, you will have like $2,500 saved up just for your vacation. And so that way you're not as stressed before you're going to vacation. You're not thinking about, oh, how am I gonna save other ways, or how am I gonna like get this money in time, and then usually you just end up not going to the trip, or you just end up like overspending your amount that you had planned, and it's just very messy along the line. So this is an easy way to go on vacation and still have a great time with your girls and a great time with your friends and your family, but also be on and look out for your future self that wants to save and wants to have the best future for themselves. The next tip I would say is actually a very useful one, and one that a lot of people don't think about necessarily, is the free and local resources that we as university students and also just citizens of our city just have right at our doorstep, but we're just not looking at it. The amount of money we pay in our tuition every single semester is insane, guys. but why is it that we're not all utilizing it? You know, we have free access to different books, we have free access to ebooks, to movies, to the lecture rooms. You know, you paid for those lecture rooms, so you can go utilize them. The other week, me and my best friends, we did a karaoke like day at one of our lecture rooms, and they had a bunch of mics, and we just projected it onto our screen by signing into our account, and we ran around the entire lecture room just screaming our hearts out to Lady Gaga, and it was a freaking blast, guys. Like, core memory 100% with the girls. And so that is literally 100% free, like no extra money spent during the activity, but it was so fun. So there's so many resources like that, and also access to museums, different art galleries, different amusement activities in your city that your university will give free access to in certain days of the week. So for example, as a university student in Toronto, we get free access to the AGO and the Aga Khan Museum on certain days and times. So it is very useful to look those up so you can not spend any money yet still have such a fun, enjoyable time exploring your own city. Another thing I would say is look at your local library. For us, the Toronto Public Library has different passes over the month, and you can borrow and you can register for the pass to get free access to things like aquariums, to the CN Towers, different amusements, completely for free because you have a library card. Literally, guys. Do you guys remember that Arthur song that's to do with the library card?
But is it hard when you've got a library card?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying here. We have so much access. Like, this is for us to use, so make sure you use it. But yeah, another thing I would say is to spend less money on buying things new. I would just like to say, like, okay, if you have the money to buy something new, obviously this video is not really for you because you can buy that, but I'm talking about broke girlies who are yet to be financially free. You know, in the future we will be, but right now we gotta keep it in check. So buying from thrift stores is so nice. Right now I'm literally wearing a skirt, a garage skirt that I got from a thrift store for literally half the price, and it had a tag on it, guys. It was completely brand new. Also, borrowing things from your family and your friends is totally fine. You can do a closet swap with your friends if you're the same sizes, and you can have a fresh new wardrobe for free, literally. If that's not your vibe, you can get things on Facebook Marketplace. I would really suggest that for things like books, for digital cameras, sewing machines, any type of like technological or any sort of like item thing that you want. That is very good, and it will be completely fine. You can test it out, and honestly, it's a great way to save some bucks. You can save a hefty amount on furniture and things like that on Facebook Marketplace, especially if you're moving to another apartment and you need new furniture. That is a place to go. Literally everyone uses it, guys. Even your favorite influencers, they get things off of Facebook Marketplace. So don't feel broke, and don't feel like, oh, like I'm the broke uni girl. No, everyone does it, so you should do it too. Okay, another thing I would also say is save on those freaking drinks that you're buying like every single week in downtown or at your school, Starbucks, Tim Hortons, wherever you are. That cute matcha or that cute coffee is literally like making you waste so much money, and you could save so much more but still enjoy that same coffee and matcha by making it at your house. I know this is simple, but we often forget about, oh, we can buy our own matcha and have our own matcha set and just create it at home for the fraction of the price. Same with coffee as well. So that is just like an easy way to save money. And it's, also, if you're going out with your friends and you are drinking, like, pre-gaming is a thing, guys. You don't need to have that shit at the place that you're going to, you know? So that's a great way. I know a lot of people save money as well. Another thing I would say is cancel all those subscriptions that you're not using, guys. There are things called websites for free movies and free books and things like that, you know? Yeah, I'm not like advocating it, but still, like, you know, it's there. The only subscription that I have is Spotify because like I love my music, so that's the only thing I buy for myself every month. But other than that, you can get a lot of free trials and things like that. Like for Amazon, you get 6-month free trial as a university student, and so use those freaking free trials. But also, don't get into that mistake of forgetting when your free trial ends. That has happened to me plenty of times, and then they will just charge you that monthly subscription rate for like $150 when you didn't even use it, right? So what I do is I create a reminder on my phone now. Very simple. It alerts me a few days before my free trial ends, and so that way I will not get charged with that amount which I didn't even want. Airplane. Okay, the airplane is somewhat gone, so if you hear it, don't mind it. But another thing I would say is tell your friends that you are on this hunt to save money and live on a budget, and I'm sure your friends will feel the same exact way. Me and my friends, I told my friends, I was a little bit nervous, not gonna lie, because I didn't want to seem like a broke girl, but we were all in the same page. As university students, most of the time you are trying to save money because your tuition, your rent that you might be paying for your place, food, whatever, is so expensive. So if you tell your friends, you will feel less awkward to say no to maybe hefty hangouts, or you can figure out ways to hang out without spending too much money for it being free, or at least a low cost. So it actually takes a lot of burden off of your shoulders when you tell the people around you what you are trying to do, because then they can support you in a lot of ways and you don't have to carry that burden by yourself. So I would say that helped me a lot as well. Another thing I would say is try to start finding different ways to gain income. So whether that is working at your local recreation center, whether that is creating like a business on the side, like a YouTube channel or content creation, or creating an Etsy account. The last thing I would say is it's important to educate yourself. So you just watching this video is a big part in you educating yourself and you becoming more aware of the money you're spending, so you can be financially free girly. You can educate yourself through books, through podcasts, YouTube videos like you're watching right now, TikToks, literally everywhere. That information is literally free at the tip of your fingers nowadays. So use it well, and instead of doom scrolling, which I am also embarrassed about, but instead of doing that, like maybe spend a little bit more time reading a book in the morning, or going through financial TikTok and doom scrolling on that rather than watching, random brain rot videos. But yeah, now on to the fun activities. So now let's see, how can we even be a hot girl in the summer without breaking our bank? The first thing has to do with daily movement and activities like that. There are so many ways to save money without like having to go to the gym or doing like expensive hefty Pilates classes and things like that, or going like rock climbing. Just literally ride your bike down the trails that your city has. Go running. Me and my friend, actually, we are running a half marathon. So that is something we started in the summer, to just run on trails, and we just downloaded. Yeah, so like I was saying before, that freaking bug just like ruined my train of thought. But yeah, me and my best friend are running for a half marathon in October, so that is a really fun activity that we started basically free of cost. Yes, running does have some expenses, like I'm gonna go buy shoes in a couple days, and I'll bring you guys along for that. But yeah, like just starting up activities which are technically free, and so that way you get your activity in and your movement in without breaking the bank. Also going swimming at the beach or at your local community center for free, and going bike riding, and even exploring different parts of your city, maybe on bus or on your bike, and that way you can be a tourist in your own city without breaking the bank one more time. Another thing I would say is to do different activities at your house, your local park, or your backyard, such as making friendship bracelets or phone charms with your friends. Going to dog parks and just hanging out with dogs is a super fun time. Also, doing things like just chilling at the park, maybe grabbing the slushie, watching the sunset on a rooftop, on a building. Doing rock painting is a really fun thing. Oh my gosh, that bug is literally gonna be the death of me. But anyways, yeah, those are a few activities which will be really nice and fun. Another really fun tip and fun thing to do is to buy paint by numbers. And tip, there are a lot of Amazon return stores probably near your place. The one that's nearby me is called Crazy Bins, and you can get like Amazon return orders for literally $1. I got a whole paint by number set with the paints, with the paintbrush, and the actual like picture to paint for $1. And me and my siblings have done like 5. I'll put a picture of it here. But yeah, it's a really good way to save money, and also do those with your friends, do it in the backyard, do it at the beach. Another thing I would say is to host a baking night or a potluck with your friends. That way you can all save money but still eat if you guys are big backs like me and my friends. Yeah, that's a good way to save money without spending and eating food out all the time, and you can make it more restrictive to your diet, or maybe align with your health requirements as well. Another thing I would say is to have a backyard tent sleepover. Me and my friends actually did this when we were younger, and we just watched movies in the backyard. But not gonna lie, we like slept through a whole thunderstorm, and we had to go back in the middle of the night. So make sure you check the weather beforehand. But that's also a very fun way to hang out with your friends outdoorsy without making your parents like super concerned about your safety, but also spending no money whatsoever. But yeah, now just to wrap it up, I just want to have a real talk with you guys. I know saving money is quite hard and honestly feels somewhat impossible sometimes, living in this day and age where everything is so freaking expensive, where like a coffee or a matcha is $7. Like, I'm sorry, what the heck? Like, it makes no sense. But we can do this, and this is not about restricting, and this is not about not letting yourself do different events or hang out with your friends. That is actually the total opposite. This video, or doing these things, will help you hang out and do everything you want, but without breaking your bank and without being super stressful and, you know, thinking about your future self. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully the audio was okay and there's not too much background noise. But yeah, I will see you guys next week, and update you guys more on my running journey to running a half marathon. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Mwah!